Welcome, everyone, to the Life Investigated podcast today on this March the 21st, 2024. Title of this podcast, Are You Ready for the Telecommunications Attacks that is being planned on this country? I think you would have to be hiding under a rock to not have heard of recent issues with AT&T, Verizon, et cetera, et cetera. Some of the other cable companies talking about service interruptions and giving you some type of lame excuse. This week, on one of my central stations that I contract with for monitoring of security alarms, I'd gotten an email this week, two emails about interruptions in the structure and reporting over telecommunication lines. Just last month, we had another issue of received an email. I have noticed that on my internet services, quite a few disruptions and slowing down. And it's not because of my bandwidth or my usage or anything else. I've got the best that's available. And quite frankly, I've had it for years and have had really good service up until lately. I've seen several disclaimers from different types of communication structures. Oh, we had just a little blip here, a little blip there, et cetera, et cetera. Programs not working properly that you've never had issues with before. And I realize we have problems from time to time, but they are beginning to be more frequent, and they are beginning to be more outlandish excuses that I just don't buy. Matter of fact, if you are buying these excuses that the services that you are paying for uh, of these continual interruptions, then maybe you and I need to talk about some oceanfront property that's for sale in Arizona that I can make you a really good deal on. Okay. Don't buy into these excuses. Listen, folks, these problems are probably coming from China. China has infiltrated our infrastructure. They have infiltrated our communication systems. It's been proven. This is not a theory. Our own government has acknowledged it before. And lest we forget the spy balloon sending communications directly back to China. Okay. Uh, and we know that Chinese products, Chinese uh, even security software that the U.S. government had purchased at one time from China, DVRs, NVRs, and different things on security cameras for in infrastructures that were or structures that were secured in the federal government. They've already been caught red-handed with a built-in back door to spy on us. Matter of fact, China has been caught red-handed numerous times, over and over and over, of stealing information and spying on the U.S. government. And we know for a fact that they are spying on individual citizens. I don't care what you think about TikTok one way or the other. I tried it one time for about 30 minutes, and it only took me about 30 minutes to realize that this was not the place to be. Okay. All the young people might like TikTok, and that's fine. And probably all of these well, I mean, Google's even it. We've seen the recent scandals with Google spying and trying to influence elections. Facebook, we know, even though if Facebook doesn't cut me off, we know all the issues that have been with Facebook and so on and so on. So there is no probably really good mainstream streaming platform that's not spying on. Well, they're all spying on you, uh, and we know that. And we've come to accept some level of that. But when we know a foreign entity has direct control over something, and we know that they are influencing our life in America, it's time to quit buying into the silly excuses. It's time to start getting serious. It's time to start overrunning with emails and phone calls to your senators and your congressmen, both on the state and federal levels. I know, you're an individual, you're one guy, one girl, you kind of feel helpless. I get it, I do too. But if we would learn how to band together, we don't need a special interest group, and we don't need a platform. We don't need to be paying executives to tell us how we need to relay our thoughts to the government, how we need to stand up to the government about our rights that are being infringed upon and our lifestyle is being infringed upon. It's all there in the open for us. We can all petition the governments for a grievance. The Constitution even says that, irregardless of what these fruitcake judges are interpreting the U.S. Constitution right now. The Constitution is what it says, and it can be enforced, especially with the Supreme Court that we have currently, although they can be a little flaky. When it comes to a lot of the constitutional issues, they seem to have at least some even keel on it. So we can petition the government for grievances. We don't need to pay some executive $2 million in a special interest group to do that for us. We can do it ourselves. You've obviously got internet, and you've obviously got a smartphone or a computer, especially if you see this. All you got to do is type in, how do I contact my senator? How do I contact my state senator or my congressperson, et cetera, et cetera? And every day, send them 2 or 3 emails. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. That's been an old saying for years and years and years. You need to become the squeaky wheel. And we can all do it as individuals, and we can collaborate together. We have ways to collaborate. We have all kinds of means of communications when they're working. Now, we are getting spied on. But here's the thing I want to drive home today. These are all trial runs. These little blips that are minor inconveniences to you that you're going, well, okay, I can deal with that. I can get over it. There's going to come an all-out assault. We are at war on several fronts, and China is our enemy. They have bought buying every bit of commercial processing, food processing, and farmland that they can find, and getting away with taking over our food supply, that's going to be another podcast. But they're going to take over our telecommunications and our infrastructure on communications. They're interfering with it. The government has admitted it in the past. They may not, with the corrupt government we have seated right now, they may not admit it because China's bought them off. But China is interfering, and they're going to knock our infrastructures out one by one. If we can't communicate with each other, then what do we have? We have total confusion. So what's going to be your plan when the next thing where you had 1 or 2 days interruption this past time, you're probably going to have a week interruption with your communications. What are you going to do then? How are you going to do business? It still may be spotty because I don't believe they're ready to reveal their hand yet on an all-out assault, but I believe they're planning for it, and it's coming. So when you have the next interruption in your communications, even if for a week, let's say, how are you going to communicate with your family? How are you communicating with your business purposes? How are you transacting money? Because if everything's down and you're totally on a debit credit card lifestyle now, how are you going to buy and sell that way if nothing's going through? So get you some cash on hand. How much? Just get whatever you can get within a reasonable amount. Make sure you have it secured in your home. Get you a safe, a lockbox or something. Hide it. Do whatever you have to do, because there are scumbags that'll break into your house every day and try to take what's yours. Get you some cash, because one thing about a merchant, if he's got goods to sell, he needs to make a living also. So even if he can't do transactions electronically, he'll find a way to take your cash, even if it's the old manual. I got a cash register here, and I've got an adding machine with a battery. I'll add, subtract, and I'll take your money one way or the other. So have you some cash on hand. Also have you some food on hand. I'm not predicting doomsday at this point, but I'm just saying if you got a week-long interruption and grocery stores start, people start panicking and the shelves empty out and all this fun stuff, then just, have you some food for right now. I would suggest at a minimum a week, and that is a minimum. You need more than that, but have your cash, have you a plan. Get a plan to communicate with your family, especially. It's terrible not to know where your family's at during a crisis or how they're reacting and getting along. So have you alternate communications. Here's an idea. You may even have to go back to writing letters. Hey, here's another idea. You might actually have to start going to people's houses again and seeing them face to face again and say, hey, I'm checking on you. Are you doing okay? Uh, so different things that you can do. You can have two-way radio communications that hopefully will still work. Um, just figure something out. I mean, there are limited ways to communicate, but we didn't used to have cell phones and internet and all of this fun stuff that, quite frankly, I could really just soon we didn't have now. We used to have to drive to somebody's house to see them and talk to them or send them a letter via snail mail. Okay. And as long as the post office was operating, I guess you could still do that. Start thinking about it. You may have some really good ideas that you can come up with and that you can get on your platforms and share with people. That's how we become strong. That's how we become unified. We, as regular, ordinary, everyday citizens, we unify together through our relationships, through our communications, and through pursuing the same common goal. It's coming, folks. There are multiple levels of things coming. I can see with the telecommunications and the internet issues, I can see this one is going to be probably one of the first severe tests that we see from our enemies. Maybe it's not China, maybe it's Russia, maybe it's Iran, or most likely it's all of them together in a conglomeration would be my best guess. But till next time, stay strong. These are depressing times. These are hard times. This is hard times to keep the faith. It is. It's difficult times. And in the end, God will still win out. He will. And it will still be as he prophesied in his word. There will be an ending coming sooner or later. Probably are we close to it? Probably, but we'll all see. It'll all come out one day. Till next time, see you. Bye.